welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today doing a video, doing a tag video, basically loads of different questions. I was up and down about this video just because obviously it's a bit more of a sensitive subject at the minute with obviously everything that's going off, but I wanted to make this to kind of like help others to understand that everyone is going through something, if that makes sense, or everybody's handling things differently, and give suggestions on things to do to help people understand that they're not alone. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of go through some questions. I tried to make it as positive as possible. If you guys want to join in on it, the questions I'm going to put in the description box. You can either, I don't know, answer them on Instagram and tag me in it, do a YouTube video and tag me in it, anything like that really. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. I think there's 10 questions. Yeah, there is 10 questions, and some of them are just basic ones, and others, like I say, just I don't want them to be, they're serious, but I also don't want them to be quite negative. So yeah, the first one is, who's within your household? Obviously they're the people that you're staying with pretty much 24/7 unless you're going to work. I'm home, working from home. My husband's also working from home, and then obviously my two children, Andrew who is 8 and Eva who is 5. Obviously homeschooling my kids as well. Like I said, my husband works in the kitchen dining area. He works in support, so he's on the phone all the time, so I have to try and make the house as quiet as possible and not to go in and out of that area a lot. Where do you go for your food shop and how do you find it? I thought this would be a good idea because food shopping at the minute is a difficult task. For not just for me, but for lots of people. Mentally it's difficult. For me it's physically difficult, as well as mentally difficult. But yeah, I thought I'd share where I go shopping and if it's easy or not. Because I've been to a mixture of places. I first started going to Asda, and I just couldn't hack it. The first time I went to Asda, it took me an hour in the queue to actually get in. I have a blue badge because of my problems with my knee, and they told me that I could just walk in with a blue badge, but then a lot of the people in the queue are already angry as it is, and I didn't really want to go, here's my blue badge, let me in, when everyone's been waiting for that long. I just didn't feel right doing that. So yeah, do not go to Asda anymore. Tesco wasn't as bad, but it was still a long queue and took me a while to get in, and there weren't that much there when I went. Obviously this was the beginning of lockdown. This was probably the second week of lockdown. Yeah, so didn't like that. I only needed to go there for my prescription, so I had to go to Tesco, but now they've changed the prescriptions there to, I used to get them in every 4 weeks. I didn't have to ring or anything, I just got a text message when it was in. Now I have to either ring them beforehand to get it in, or they've given me my prescription to take elsewhere, so I don't have to queue anymore. I currently now go to Aldi. Aldi seems the best, and it seems to have most things in there now. There was just a few bits missing, like a few bits of meat, but there's also other bits of meat that's there, if that makes sense. So like, for example, chicken. The other day they didn't have diced chicken, but they had chicken fillets. So stuff like that basically. The only thing they didn't have in when I went there recently was flour, and that was it. But yeah, that seems to me the best place to go. Where we are, we've got 2 now, or technically 3, but 2 that I tend to go to. The one closest to us, I tend to go there most, but the other one was what I used to go before. And there's only once been a queue, and there's a queue of 3 people, and that was it. So Aldi to me is the best place to go because they have more stock. Well, they don't have more stock, but there seems to have more choice and more things. And yeah, the queues are really low. So Aldi's definitely a good place to go at the minute if you can't queue or can't emotionally handle it. I mean, the only thing different at Aldi, yes, you have to keep your distance, but there's not all this stuff around you that makes you go crazy. Like, can't go that way, I can't go that way, I have to follow this way. With Aldi it makes it so you can just go freely. You just have to avoid people basically, and when you check out there's just obviously there's a line on the floor to wait, and then there's just protective screens up, but they're not like loads of security around and like that in the bigger shops. So I much prefer that mentally and physically. Question 3. during lockdown, are you following a routine or going with the flow? I know routine's really good for keeping like your energy up and not having as many loungy days, but I have to have days where I don't stick to a routine. My kids and me, we all thrive on a routine, but to me, because physically, if I keep on going and don't have a day of rest, my body just refuses to do anything and forces me to have that day of basically sitting down and doing nothing all day because of the problems that I have. So I have to follow a routine, but also have days where I do nothing, basically. And the way we're doing it this minute is following a routine like throughout the week, especially for homeschooling and stuff, and sticking to a routine with that. And then the weekend we tend to just kind of like do whatever we want or do nothing. So I don't follow a routine then. Usually we might do a couple of fun things throughout the day, like the weekend. I've tried to bake every weekend with the kids. But yeah, the weekend are the days that we don't have any routines and I just kind of like rest. And the kids can do what they want, basically. 4 is, what activities or hobbies help you pass the time? Having 2 kids at home, that passes the time for me. So doing activities with the kids, but personal activities that I did before the lockdown, but I suppose I've just been doing them a bit more now, is baking. I love baking. I can't do it loads because of my arms and stuff, but I try and do it as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm trying to do it every weekend with the kids. And crochet, even though I do have problems with my shoulders, because when I crochet, if I have like something underneath my arms like a pillow, and do small movements, so I use more my wrist and my fingers, and that seems to help. Only if I do massive movements like this, like when I used to do like knitting, I can do, and then yeah, crochet I can do, but stitching it together, that's what I struggle with because of the movements with my arms. But yeah, crocheting is something that I've been loving, and at the minute I'm making myself some kind of like leggings style jogging bottoms. I'm almost finished. I finished one leg, I'm halfway through the other leg, and then I just have to sew them up and then do the cuffs, and yeah, I'm looking forward to them. They should be done probably within the next few days. One of the hobbies that I haven't started yet, which I really need to start looking into because I've been quite passionate about it since I can remember, is I've always wanted to learn sign language. I know how to spell my name in sign language, I know how to say like thank you, just the basic things, and I think that's apple or orange. I picked up a few things from at school, and obviously Makaton, which is like toilet, but I know Makaton isn't sign language. It's a type of signing for children, but it's not sign language. So that is one thing that I'm trying to probably go into, is watch a load of tutorials on YouTube. I don't really know how to get started. I don't want to go through the option of paying for it because I want to make sure that I can pick it up. But yeah, any suggestions, put them in the comments. But I think I'm going to start just like watching YouTube. For some strange reason, YouTube's been recommending a load of like sign language people to me as well. So even though I've not searched it on there, so I'm fascinated just to watch them. Obviously I've got to put like the subtitle bits on because I don't obviously understand everything that they're doing. But yeah, that's one thing I definitely want to start learning soon. I just need to figure out a way to get started. Right, a bit more serious question this time is what you've been struggling with most during lockdown. I am lucky enough for everybody in my family to be home safe. So that hasn't really worried me that much. I think the worries that I had to start off with was my kids. Not for them to get ill, but for them to feel the downside of it all. So like having less social interaction, not seeing family members, and not being able to be with their friends. But Andrew seems to he's been calling all of his friends on Skype, having big conversations with those, playing Xbox with his friends and Minecraft with his friends. Ava hasn't, but she's a very me person, if that makes sense. Like, I'm the person she's always interacted with, even when she wouldn't talk or communicate much with like people at school and whatnot. When she was going through the where they said that she was just holding a speech back. So yeah, she's not a massive social person like me. I'm not a social person, and so it's just, yeah, she's been really clingy basically, been upset like if I need 5 minutes to myself. Like now she was completely fine downstairs, which was great, but I had to give her loads of things to distract her. So yeah, that was one of the concerns I had, but I'm not that concerned about it anymore. The only worrisome thing is family. I mean, the kids' birthdays were right at the beginning of lockdown, so even though like the social distancing started a couple of days before Ava's birthday, and then everything else got cut off on the Monday, well, they said after Friday, and Andrew's birthday was a Monday, and Ava's was on that Friday where it all started. So yeah, I kind of, that really touched me when, I think the thing that was the most upsetting for me was when my mum came round, and because my mum, I basically said to my mum, I don't want to open the door because I don't want to tell the kids that they're not allowed to hug her and kind of get upset because of that. So what we agreed on is she dropped the presents outside the door. She did the same for Easter, and then they'd speak through the window, and it wasn't so bad at Easter, it was manageable. But at the birthdays it just really hit me that I was like, this is just crazy. But there's also something else I want to mention to do with like the kids and stuff. So that was slightly concerned at the beginning that of their like social interaction stuff going down, but I read a post on Instagram, I can't remember who it was from, and it was basically about basically in the future, children that are now like my son's age, for example, he's 8, have been a granddad, and a grandchild comes home and says, and asks for the age, and obviously they've given the age, and this is, oh, so you was alive during the coronavirus, because we've been learning about that at school. And obviously the granddad was like, yes. And the child was like, I heard it was terrible, people was dying, the cinemas were closed, the parks were closed, all the shops were closed, well, besides some food shops. You couldn't see anybody, you couldn't see a family member, you couldn't go out and play with your friends, the school were closed. Basically like basically listing all like the bad stuff. And the grandparent turned around and was like, but I didn't see it that way. And then that grandparent listed all the benefits that they had in that time. I'm just starting to get emotional. The grandparent said, I got to spend time with my family. My family didn't say I didn't have time. They were happy to do activities, play outside, bake, have late nights, movie nights. They could learn school at home, they could play games, and all the memories they created with their family at that time, when some families don't get that. Our family, for example, my husband leaves work and comes home quite late, so he's gone most of the day, and when he used to work further away when the kids were a little bit younger, he never saw them during the day, only the weekend when he was off, because they'll leave before they wake up, and then he'd get home when they're in bed. And for us it means that during the day we've got time together. Even though my husband is working, he does get his breaks, he just sits in the living room with the kids and cuddles them. So even though my husband can't do that one-on-one time like what I'm doing more, we're still together more as a family and can do stuff and enjoy stuff. And yeah, it's about that child that was now a grandparent didn't even though obviously the kids know that all the negative stuff, it's about changing the memories they had to make it less painful for them and less difficult for them to kind of like deal with. So that kind of like hit me when I was like, wow, if you just change your child's memory and make it, even though it's not a positive situation, but make it positive situation at home, and kind of like not bring all like the negative stuff home, how much difference it can make on a child, especially the child's mental health. Like my kids suffer, well, Andrew especially suffers from anxiety quite a bit, and that was like another concern. and he's been fine with it. He understands what's going off. He understands how serious it is, and obviously the precautions you have to take and things you have to do. Ava does know, she knows that there's a bug everywhere and that people are getting really poorly from it. But there's something she doesn't quite get, like when she asks me to come to the shop with me and I have to say no. But yeah, I wanted to add that in there because whatever's like, you can be in a bit of a bubble in a say. I don't like saying that because it means you're kind of ignoring all the negative stuff people are going through every day, but trying to make the best of a bad situation basically. So the next one, I kind of rambled on a bit of that one. 6 is list 3 things you're grateful for during lockdown. My battery's flashing at me now. I'm grateful for spending the time with my family. Like I was saying a second ago, just doing activities and even the stuff like for school, just yeah, being able to spend time with them. I've never been one of these parents when it becomes school half terms where they're like, oh, I want my kid to go back to school. I enjoy the days where we don't have to get up early and get out the door early and go to school. I enjoy the times that we get to stay up late watching movies and having games night, playing board games or video games, having difficulties myself, have to leave the house, doing school runs and stuff like that. I find it really difficult, and that has been loads better for me having my family home. So like I said, the days that I can't do as much or the days I'm struggling, then I don't have to get up and do the school run or force myself to stand and wait for the kids, or do you know what I mean? I get to be at home, and then obviously if I am struggling I get the help. So that has been a biggest thing that I've appreciated most, is I don't have to go out and deal with the pain when I can just stay home and kind of make it a little bit easier for myself. Another thing as well is I struggle a lot with social anxiety, and even though it's really horrible to think, when I leave the house now, I don't dread someone coming up to me and talking to me, because they don't come close anyway because they're not allowed. So it's made my social anxiety a little bit better, but I know as soon as all this is over and I'm not a very touchy-feely person, like hugging and kissing and yeah, and I know as soon as this is over, and that when we see family members again, that is probably going, and obviously out in the open school and whatnot, that's probably going to be the most difficult time for me, is to get back into the social like part of it. Number 7 is, has anything been postponed or cancelled because of the lockdown? I know a lot of things have been postponed for people. For me, not yet. Besides from the kids' birthday party. They had a joint birthday party on the Saturday the 21st, and obviously official lockdown started at the end of the day on Friday, and then social distancing was before that anyway. But I personally cancelled their birthday party. It was going to get cancelled anyway, I knew it was. But as soon as they released social distancing, I cancelled it. A bit of a petty person I spoke to when I did say, because I knew I was allowed to cancel it because I phoned previous when it started, and obviously because of the virus and stuff, they said that I'd get a full refund for it, which I did. But he was like, I'm working that day, people are still having parties that day, you don't need to cancel it. And I'm like, no, I'm cancelling it. So I cancelled it, and then obviously on the Friday evening it was announced at the end of the Friday that we're going to come in complete lockdown. So it's a good job I cancelled it. We do have a holiday, it's not booked, but it's my father-in-law's wedding renewal in the beginning of October. It's the end of September, beginning of October. That's not been cancelled yet, but we've not booked it yet, so we're just got the money away from when to book it, if that makes sense. We're just waiting to basically hear what happens when it gets close to the time, but hopefully that doesn't get, I think it might get cancelled or postponed, probably the best thing. But yeah, it's just been birthday parties and stuff. It's not like weddings and all that stuff. We've been quite lucky. The next one is 8, which is have you been getting ready most days or staying in loungewear / PJs? Another thing, it's kind of similar to the routine, but no. I only get ready in clothes probably once a week, if that. Apologies, my camera died. Loungewear or PJs, getting ready. No, I don't seem to get ready, wear makeup when I need to. Like if I'm filming sit down videos, something like this. Or I don't know, like the kids' birthdays, I forced myself to get dressed into something nice, put makeup on, because I wanted it to feel different. So the kids got up, got changed. No, we've been mostly been wearing PJs or loungewear. If the kids have been getting changed, they've been wearing the comfy stuff. Ava just wears what she wants. She loves dresses, so yeah, she doesn't get changed every time. Like today, both of them are still in PJs. I mainly wear loungewear, so just to be comfortable. I don't see the point of just putting jeans on and being uncomfortable around the house. So I've been wearing a lot of legging type style things and baggy t-shirts, and so yeah, mostly for us it is loungewear and PJs. Number 9 is what you've been missing most during lockdown, and this one was really hard for me because I mean the only thing that I could think of is family. Not being able to kind of like see them and things and have my kids be around the rest of the family, kids like my nieces and my nephew. But the other day I was really missing like restaurants. I don't eat out very often, and I like the only probably the most place we go to is like McDonald's, and I'm starting to miss McDonald's. And just being able to go somewhere for food. Obviously you can get like Just Eat and stuff like that, but the times are extended quite a bit now. It takes over an hour to get food most of the time. But I just miss thinking, right, I don't want to cook today, I'm out, you know what I mean? And like taking the kids to iJump, and just, yeah, even though I love being at home, recently I've been starting missing that. So, which I bet most kids are, to be honest, and parents are just missing taking to kids places. Like the kids really want to go back to Disneyland, but I can't say I want to go back, but can't see when. So yeah, just things like that, enjoying activities with the kids, or going out as a family for meals and things. Now number 10 is what would be the first thing you do when lockdown is lifted? I think like anybody is visit family, have family either come here or go to family's house, let my kids play with, like I said, friends and family members. That's probably the first one. Obviously the kids' birthday party was cancelled, and the kids were lucky enough to have really nice friends and parents of their friends to the last day, because I pulled the kids out of school on the Thursday, but social distance, a couple of days after, or the day after, social distancing was on there, because I thought I work from home anyway, so my kids going to school is a social distancing. They don't have to be at school, so I pulled them out a couple of days early, and we've got like group chats for classes at school on Facebook, and I mentioned in there that I'll be pulling them out, the birthday parties be cancelled, and then I was like, oh, we'll bring presents in, and I was like, well, this day is the last day, and people still came and gave me presents. We had some presents and cards posted through the letterbox. I was really grateful for that the kids didn't have to miss out on birthday cards from the friends and things, so that was amazing. But yeah, getting the kids to see, I know what Andrew's going to be like, and I know Andrew's going to get very emotional when he's going to see his like best friends. I know he is, because that's who he is. He's quite an emotional person. Cries at films and everything. I was never like that. My mum always said I had a heart of stone because I never cried at any sad films, but he does. Like I said, that day for me, even though it's something we'll do first, is go see friends and family and stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if, like I said, if you want to participate in it, please do. The questions are going to be in the description box, and I hope I've not offended anybody, or kind of, like I said, it's one of those difficult situations where I tried to not make it complain much about stuff, because I know a lot, especially if this situation is, for me, I really don't have anything to complain about much compared to others that are going through heartache and fighting to survive. But I wanted this to be kind of like I said, a video for people to kind of like feel like they're on the same level and that they're not alone, and that even some things that they're struggling with, to like relate to somebody else that might be struggling with them, but also things to help them, like activities and where's best to go shopping. And yeah, so even though this video took me a while to film and to kind of like be like, no, do it, I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. And like I said, it'll mean the world to participate, because even though it is a touchy subject and difficult one to talk about, I think just being relatable and knowing that other people could relate to you and make them feel better is a big thing. And that's one of the journeys that I like to take on this channel, is anything that I've been through, even though it's difficult to express and talk about, that I wanted to make sure that nobody else is feeling like alone, to make them feel better. That makes sense. But yeah, so I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you soon. Bye.